I identify with that person. Um, I feel like there's an idea every second that's going um, through my head. It's like always something. It's like um, only sleep stops it.
Welcome to the mini mart. Come on, don't be shy, y'all. Say welcome to the mini mart.
Okay, hello, I'm Charles,
Hello, this is David,
and
and
welcome
welcome
to
to
the
the Mini
Mini
Mart
Mart
Podcast,
Podcast, where
where
ministry
ministry
meets
meets
the
the
marketplace.
marketplace.
Listen to tonight, David, or we just want to talk about something that's going to be very, very um, helpful. I feel like in the marketplace as well as in ministry. Um, we want to be able to share with you eight wealth building principles and strategies to help you grow your business. But we also want to use some of these points to help you understand that where you fit into ministry in your local church, maybe in some of the mission activities that you are currently involved in. But tonight we're going to start with the first one, which is like the creative person, the creator. So tell us a little bit about it.
So, welcome to the Mini Mart. We are talking about the creator personality first, and this is the person who is the big idea person. They're the ones who like to get things going. Um, they they have vision. Um, they can they see the big picture. So they are wonderful at starting things, but they have an issue when it comes to finishing things or getting things done.
Mm. Um, I wonder how many of you so far, by listening to that, have automatically um, can say, I identify with this person. This is who I am. And bringing this close to home, I feel like I identify with that person. Um, I feel like there's an idea every second that's going um, through my head. It's like always something. It's like um, only sleep stops it. Just being
Mm.
perfectly honest, that's the only way my brain shuts down, and sometimes I even dream. So it's always an idea or something coming, and it is a big picture. But as some of the things that we were talking about as we were preparing for this podcast, um, how we see the big picture, but sometimes being a creative person, we're so quick to move on to something else. We don't always share clear directives about what we see to be able to get someone else, which is one of the other people that we were talk about in these strategies to support what we see,
Right.
because we get really, really, I don't know, just anxious, and we're ready to move on. So because we don't finish anything, it's hard for us to, I guess, articulate what we want to be done to the person that's going to help us.
I agree. Because with creatives, there's always something new to create. There's always, it's always a big picture.
Yeah.
You see a big picture here, you see a big picture there, you see a big picture there. So, with the way that, a creator's mind works, is they always see the next big thing and the next big thing and the next big thing. And the people who are there to support creators are trying to keep up with the next thing. So, you kind of see where I guess it would be difficult to finish the first thing if we jump to the next, into the next, into the next, into the next, without having certain people or roles in place to take the first thing and run with it and delegate and um systematize
Right.
the things that the creator sees. So it 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 almost takes away from that person who is the creator when um the next project comes. It and they have to be stuck doing the work when that's not who they are.
Right.
You know, their thing is to create, not to necessarily manage what they see or the vision that they have. That's what they have supporting roles for. And it would hinder somebody like you or somebody like you who says, I am the creator. It's a big idea, big idea, big idea, big idea, big idea. But to have to manage
Mm,
those big ideas takes away from your creativity because running something that's created can get boring,
absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely. And listen, to me, it was exhausting just hearing you say big picture, big picture, big picture, because in my mind, I live that. It's like the picture sometimes is so big until I feel like it's beyond my capacity. It's like, why am I, thinking about this? Because honestly, another problem with the creator is most of the time they don't have the finances to fund what
Hmm.
they see.
Right.
It is like you have this big picture of what you want, but it has so many moving components to it till you can't possibly do it by yourself. But it's it becomes almost a burden when you feel like, I'm stuck here trying to do this by myself or manage this by myself. And I think, sometimes, um, and I don't know, while we were talking about this, I kind of, you know, even being like a senior pastor as well as an entrepreneur,
Right.
started thinking about myself and how sometimes I might impose on my team with the ideas being so often coming. So, it's like, hey, we can't keep up. We want to, but we just can't shut it down. It's like
Right.
creatives
Right.
is, I can't turn it off. Sometimes I want to be able to turn it off, but, I can't turn it off. But I don't want to lose that ability to be creative because that's what our heart pumps from.
Right. Right.
That's what we live from.
Right. And business owners, pastors, leaders who have this ability, um, they need a good number two.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, you think about your Steve Jobs.
Right.
I can't remember what his partner's name was, but you think about Bill Gates.
Right.
These people that have created Apples, your Microsofts. I mean, even M&M's for let's take them for an example. This company, M&M,
Our future
our
sponsors.
future sponsors. Think about them. This huge candy company.
Right.
Somebody had an idea to create a little piece of chocolate
Right.
and have it coated. But you think about the branding,
Yeah.
you think about distribution, you think about sales, you think about marketing. They can't get bogged down in those day-to-day activities to get caught up in the minutia
Right.
of running the company and still thinking about, okay, so what is the next flavor?
Right.
You know,
My
okay,
thoughts
we
exactly.
have caramel, we have peanut, we got original. Um, we had another flavor the other
Cookies and
day,
cream.
cookies and cream. And when we did the photo shoot, the brown bag, it was mocha something, I think. But how can a creator
Right.
think of all these things, but still, okay, so what's the bottom line?
Right.
The number of employees we got to manage, the systems that we have to put in place. They don't have time to think about that because they have to stay innovative.
Right.
They got to stay not only current, but they got to stay ahead of the
Right.
curve.
Right. So what you're saying in essence basically is that, like in all things, we need a team.
Absolutely.
We need a team.
Absolutely.
So not getting ahead of ourselves and going to, one of the other roles that, plays a great part in this wealth building strategy. Um, it's, older people would say that, if you stay plugged in where you're supposed to be, you won't blow a fuse.
Right.
You got to stay in your own lane. If you're trying to drive in somebody else's lane, you're going to wreck every time. We need to, and this is one of the things that I'm so happy about, that our church, our local church, we're moving to, and we're doing this assessment and this profile, and we're allowing people to self-assess, and we're doing some of the things that we've watched and discerned and have meetings to find out which role is your greatest role. We want to be able to allow people to operate at 100% capacity without being bogged down with the rest of the little trivia stuff that, they're trying to to go along with what they're really supposed to be doing, and they're getting lost in the shuffle because this is not really what I'm supposed to do. I'm kind of hitting and missing at that. But what I know I'm supposed to do and who I am, I'm not really flowing in that because, I'm having to micromanage stuff. And sometimes because I don't have a team, or I have not properly, given clear directives to my team, and learn how to delegate the authority where it should be.
Right. So think about traffic. And this just came in. You think about traffic and think about stoplights.
Right.
You're sitting at a four-way intersection. There are no lights there. Who goes first?
Right.
I want to turn left. The car across from me wants to turn right. So we want to go the same way.
Right.
How do we know who has the right of way? Or think about, well, we talked about this before, a bus, and you have all of these seats, and you have people in the seat, but they in the wrong seat. So everybody's trying to go the same way, but then there's frustration.
Right.
There is ambiguity. There is lack of who does what. So for a creator, the thing that they see it's not being done
No.
because nobody knows what to do or how to do it or what their role is. So then you have a creator who is just utterly frustrated because they know what they want,
Right.
they know what's needed, but they don't have the resources, which time is a big one,
Yes. Really big one.
to do the things that the other people on the team should do. So you have, and this was a bullet point in that profile, you have a world full of frustrated creators. And
Here, here.
you have many creators who ultimately fail because they've taken on too much, they do too much. But the most successful creators delegate
Yes.
everything.
And it was hard. It's hard, I'm telling you. It's because it's like, let's look at it as having a brand new baby.
Brand new baby. Okay.
Brand new baby. Brand new baby comes into the world. And, when you go see the baby, the mom is like, she's so happy, and she's, just showing off the baby. And you say, can I hold her? And she's like, yeah, yeah. Be careful with the head. Make sure you hold the neck. It's kind of like, I don't know, maybe she's a little bit too small right now. It's because even though the baby is not that fragile, it's not going to break, you just don't trust
Yes.
everybody to handle your brand new baby. So the problem with creators is like they feel like this is something that's so fragile in the beginning stages. I just created this.
Mhm.
I don't know how it's going to um, evolve into what it's supposed to be. So I'm not comfortable allowing somebody to handle it because I'm more afraid of it being mishandled than I am for you doing what needs to be done with it. So I try to do it all by myself, and that's exhausting. And eventually, when I can't do it by myself, I'll kind of set it to the side, and now I've moved on to the next big picture because um, it won't stop. I have to keep doing something. But how many of the greatest ideas, greatest uh, accomplishments have been put on the shelf and left, never doing anything else with them, and we moved on to something else that wouldn't have been, as beneficial as what we stopped with.
So that saying it takes a village.
Yeah,
It really does. Because sometimes you can get overwhelmed with the baby.
right,
With especially if you don't have help.
right,
Um, so those ideas that, and sometimes it's just not really time for them. You know,
right,
but those ideas that get left on the shelf. I think about who is missing out because it wasn't followed through with.
mm-hmm,
Who is waiting on that thing? Um, and what if you don't have that support? What if you don't have that number two? Um, who and just talking to the listener,
right,
if they are the creator, and I don't have that. I can remember, we were talking and laughing about this earlier. Is I would have a new idea every couple of days. you
I
know,
was gonna try to let you slide and not bring it up, but
it wanted
man, I couldn't
wanted
keep up.
yeah, wanted to design websites
Yeah,
and wanted to sell sports apparel, and trying to do 18 things,
right.
and it's just idea after idea after idea.
Hmm.
But I know being a creator or creative is not my dominant
Right,
profile, which is what I was trying to get at, is that everybody has secondary
right,
and tertiary profiles, but that dominant profile as a creator is that's what you just have to be comfortable with.
right,
And once people know, and once even that that's who I am, I think it would alleviate a lot of frustration, a lot of heartache, because then okay, something's there's nothing wrong for me.
right,
That's just who I am. But the people around okay, that's who this person is. That's why it seems like that they are on 10,000 all the time and want this, want this, want this, want this, want this, because that's who that person is. But who am I in relation to that person, the creator, to help whatever vision or product or whatever comes along with that creative idea? How do I help? How do I help you make this idea a reality? And once we know that, a lot of frustration goes out of the window
it
because you know who
does.
you're dealing with.
It does. And that's one thing I really do, want to take a moment and just be honest, and just share my heart for a second. I appreciate the teamwork and so many different, um, big ideas that's come to fruition because of the fact of having a super great support system. Can I give a shout out to, I call them my core four? It's actually more than four, but those people that will take off the rooftop just to be able to make sure you get where you need to go. to make sure that you receive the proper attention that you need. If you can't get through the crowd, they'll think it through to help you get where you're supposed to be. And as a senior leader and pastor in ministry, I think it's so necessary to kind of alleviate some of this frustration in our local churches by helping people understand. Listen, as this pastor, I have so many people, especially after they go through the honeymoon of the Holy Ghost and being saved and just being on cloud nine for a season. Now, Pastor, what am I supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I supposed to be in the Lord? You know, has the Lord spoken to you about what I'm supposed to do? And because we as leaders, we want to see people uh being used in ministry and doing things and feel like they are part of ministry. Sometimes we actually give people assignments. We don't necessarily say that God told me you're supposed to be the prophet of the house or you're supposed to be the greeter on the door. But I say, David, why not try your hand in the media department? Now you try your hand in the media department and you find out that I'm horrible at this.
Mm-hmm.
But because I don't want to let the ministry down, I don't want to let the leader, the pastor down, I keep doing this until I fail miserably. And then I pull back. And here I am now in the pews. I don't really want to do anything else because I feel like I'm a failure. When really, that was not where you were supposed to be.
Right.
So it was um, giving you an assignment and not telling you, now, if this does not work for you, we'll find other placement until we find where you're supposed to be. But what's wrong with the good old pen and pad and having someone sit down and say, hey, why don't you list the things that you're good at?
Mm-hmm.
The things that you're gifted with, the things that you are gifted for, things that come to you naturally. It's like you may be a numbers person. You may be somebody that's excellent in administration and we never know it. You may be a tech person.
Right.
You can figure out something in 5 minutes that it takes a whole team 2 or 3 days to figure out because you're just that tech savvy. So if you write down and give a list of what you can do, then we can work together. But I'm not bashing the church. I'm pro Jesus. I'm pro church. But sometimes we over spiritualize everything instead of going to it, you know, saying, let's take it from this angle. Let's see what you're good at and let's see what you're anointed for. And if you can put those things together, then we'll find out what you're supposed to do and where you're supposed to be. And that'll make a happy parishioner. That'll make somebody says, I fit. I don't have to get in where I fit in. This is my place. Teach them not to become territorial. Take ownership of the season that they're in, but be prepared to move as God begins to move them. Then we can keep growing the church.
Right. Well, the word says your gift will make room for you.
Right.
So, and I want to help a lot of people out. There was only one creator
Right.
who could start and finish anything just by speaking a word
At the same time.
at the same time, who knew where everything should be, who knew where everything should fit. It was only one of him. So that responsibility of thinking that I have to start it and I have to finish it, I hope this helps somebody
Right.
understand that just because you start something, you don't have to be the one who continues to run it, continue to manage it, and ultimately finish it. And even going back to finding your fit, there's nothing wrong with writing down what you're good at.
Right.
But what about what you're not good at?
Right. Right. That's big too.
You know, that's a whole list in itself. Is I might not be good at communicating with people. I don't need to be another one of the roles that we'll talk about. I might be somebody who works behind the scenes,
Right.
who can manage the bottom line and just say, this is what it is. We don't need to do this right now, because they can actually see when a good time is to say yes or say no. But to have that strengths, it's strengths and weaknesses
Right.
that people have. So yeah, we need to know the strengths. We need to know the weaknesses,
Right.
because there's no need of putting somebody in a role dealing with people that don't know how to communicate,
Right.
that don't know how to um, network, that don't know how to put this person with this person. It's no need for that, because they will ultimately fail.
Will.
You
They will
know,
definitely fail.
they
And
might they might have that might be one of their secondary, but it's not the primary thing that they're
right.
assigned to.
And I believe that if you it's nothing wrong with you saying I'm not good at this, especially when you've already, and I don't like to use the word fail, when you've already learned from the
Mhm.
lesson of not accomplishing it. I'm listen, just tell the person, I already tried that. That just does not work for me. And because coming from a singing background, it's like the worst thing you can do is put a person in the choir that can't sing
Mhm.
because you want numbers. Then you frustrate the people in the choir because they hear all of these off notes and they have, they are, tone deaf and they're singing louder than everybody in their section.
Mhm.
And, the pitch people is like, try to tell the director, I can't deal with this because the sister so and so or brother so and so is just totally out of control. And because we don't want to hurt feelings, you won't tell somebody, listen, this singing is not what you're supposed to be doing,
Mhm.
and we'll let them stay in the choir. And this is where the the marketplace um, practices more professionalism
Mhm.
than the church does, because the marketplace will not allow you to keep operating on a job that you're not suited for. First of all, they can't afford the loss that will come from you doing something that you don't know how to do and doing it improperly and causing the company money.
Right.
So they're going to quickly tell you, no, 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 no. You can't keep doing this because you're causing the line to shut down. You're causing production to shut down. And, you're causing the company, bottom line, a lot of money to be lost. So we're going to try you at something else, but this is definitely not your calling. How long will the church let someone stay in a position that they know they're not suited for simply because they don't want to hurt their feelings?
I think it does the church a disservice, and that person who continues to operate in that role that they know they're not suited for. But because they saw sister so and so do it, or brother so and so do it, that I can do it, I can do it better.
Mm-hmm.
So then you got this competition thing, and it is eating away at the ministry, because I mean, you can tell.
You can.
You can tell. Maybe I'm not supposed to sing in the choir, but I know other choirs, or I know other people, so I can get the choir engagements.
Right.
I can be an administrator for the choir, or whatever it is. But if if the marketplace can do it, the church definitely has to,
Right.
because you think about the bottom line for the church, it's discipleship,
It
it's
is.
souls.
Right.
And if you have people operating in the wrong place, the ministry will stale and grow stagnant, because there's somebody else who can fulfill that role that we just don't want to give up. Be
And it's sad because the ministry should be, the church should be the model for the marketplace. But honestly, it's the other way around.
it is.
It's the other way around. You have to have, I know the difference, and it's helped me by being an entrepreneur to actually know that there are policies and procedures. We have to have operations, um, manuals. We have to have scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have meetings weekly, bi-weekly, whenever necessary. We have to, you know, understand profit and loss. We have to, income um, sheets and all of the cost of goods sold and all of those things to make the business operate and to stay ahead of it. Because if you don't, payroll alone can
Mm-hmm.
turn your business upside down.
Welcome to the mini mart, mini mart. Welcome to the, I say welcome to the mini mart. Welcome to the mini mart, mini mart. Y'all help me say it. They say welcome to the mini mart. Welcome to the mini mart. Welcome to the, they say welcome to the mini mart. I said welcome to the mini mart.